Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the mistake of all mistakes, the Achilles heel of all learners, and those are the articles. The articles seem to be one of the most difficult things for people to understand, but yet they are very, very simple. Let me explain. So we'll begin with singular countable nouns. An article has to be used in any situation where there is a countable noun without a name. There's no exceptions to that. Countable nouns need articles. All right? That's really, really important. So let me just give you a few examples. I'm going to see a doctor. When the doctor comes, then tell him that I want to talk with him. I'm going to see Joseph. In this case, Joseph is a name, so it doesn't need an article. All right. If you call me Teacher Joseph, I'm going to see Teacher Joseph. It also doesn't need an article. Okay, articles are only needed for countable nouns. In this case of Teacher Joseph, it's either a name or the teacher is the adjective to describe what I do. Okay, so every single countable noun always needs an article. If it is a name, then it doesn't. And this is where the confusion comes in. Because if I say, for example, I'm going to Greece for my holiday, that's fine, because the name of the country isn't the Greece, it's simply Greece. But if I say I'm going on a holiday to the Russian Federation, the, in this case, is it really required? Well, I would say yes, because the country is actually called the Russian Federation. But it's not always so clear in English if the should be there. For example, where are you going on holiday? Oh, I'm going to America. Where are you going on holiday? I'm going to the United States. But for the USA, for the United States of America, the isn't actually part of the country name. So people generally say, I'm going to United States. And it gets very confusing at that point because it sounds like something's missing because states have an S at the end. So a lot of people don't know whether to use an article or not. And the way to really be sure is if you capitalize the name, in this case the U or the S, then you're basically saying that it is a name. Okay? So for example, if you write my name, Joseph, it'll have a capital J. Okay? So you know I'm not a Joseph. You know it's my name, Joseph. So I'm going to United States. All right? If you don't capitalize the U and the S, you're not using the company, you're not using the country name, you're simply talking about the States of America, in which case you can use the. So, if you're in any doubt, just capitalize the country name just to make sure that it's clear it is a name, and that takes away the need for an article. Now, let me tell you, this is not only confusing for you, this is also confusing for me, because in the past, we used to always write any plural with an article. Oh yeah, I'm going to that US, I'm going to that United States. But now people are being very concerned and political with English. I'm going to give you one example to prove my point. A few weeks ago, I was invited to annual meeting of an organization which I'm a member of, okay? I got the flyer in the post. It says, would you like to attend annual meeting? And I thought, well, annual meeting. Not if you don't use the article, I'm not coming. It should be the annual meeting. But then I questioned them. I said, why did you not use the before annual meeting? That's really crazy. It sounds horrible. It doesn't look right. But they pointed something out which I can't argue with. The annual meeting is the name of the meeting. It's called annual meeting. So if they wrote that in small letters, a small a and a small m, they would be talking about that meeting which happens every year. But they capitalize the a and the m, which makes it into a name. I agree, it looks hellish. It doesn't look good at all. But that's the way they're doing it. This is a thing in American English these days, being exactly correct with your English, okay? So going to annual meeting sounds really weird. But if I say I'm going to the annual meeting of the company, I'm just talking about what happens every year. It's not a name. But on the flyer, annual meeting with a capital A, capital M, that needs, or that doesn't need, I should say, an article because it's a name. That's what the confusion is. Are you confused yet? Even talking about it, it's making me a little bit confused as well. Let's move on. Plurals. Okay, so with plurals, it's equally simple. Okay, you just have to know whether you're talking generally or whether you're talking specifically. For example, children like to play. They're children. It's what they do. I'm not talking about specific children. I'm just saying children, yeah, they like to play. Linux likes to not boot when I switch it on in the morning. Windows likes to crash. I'm just talking generally, okay, about things. Okay, I used Windows and Linux. Of course, they're names anyway, so they wouldn't have articles. But let's just carry on for a moment exploring that. Okay, so let's say children like to play, or trees like to blow in the wind. Okay, so I'm making a general statement there that covers everything. All right. So bins like to fall over when I put the trash out. Okay, so in this case, I'm not talking about specific bins, but if I'm at the window looking out and I see a tree moving in the wind, I would say, oh, the trees are moving in the wind. If I see children in my garden, well, I would first of all say, get out of my garden, because I don't have kids, okay? But if I see children playing in the garden, okay, I would say, ah, the children are playing in the garden. I wouldn't just say, oh, children are playing in the garden, because I'm talking about very specific children, my neighbor's children, okay? Again, if I look out the window and I see the bins lying around, I might say, for example, the bin has fallen over, right? Because I'm talking about a very specific bin. If I say bins have fallen over, somebody would say, what bins? And I would say, sorry, my bins, or those bins, the bins there. So in plurals, if you're being specific, okay, then you need to add the, all right? It's never going to be a because a doesn't work. The articles are a for, this is going back to the singular, okay? A for single countable nouns, and for single countable nouns that begin with a vowel sound, not a vowel letter. Let me give you an example. An umbrella. An umbrella. The letter is U, but a university, because even though it's still the letter U, it's actually the Y sound. Yeah, and that's not a vowel. So a university, an umbrella, an hour, because the H is silent as well. Okay, so it needs an rather than a hour. So that's just a very brief introduction to articles. Okay, so if you are in any doubt about it, use an article, because otherwise it'll look like you are a 7-year-old kid. Well, 4-year-old. There's just one other thing I need to tell you about articles, and that is, even for us, there are certain moments that you would question whether one is required. For example, in my case, last week, that flyer that came through the post, which was talking about annual meeting with capital A and capital M, it's a name. Things which are infinite, like space, for example, is never going to be carrying an article. You would never say this space. But you could talk about a space in a room, or this space in the room, but the space in the sky doesn't have an article. So there's always going to be moments where you stop and question it, but any doubts at all, put it in, okay? Because there's a 70 or 80% chance that it needs an article anyway. All right. I hope this has been helpful. It's just a very quick and very general outline of articles. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me a private message, and I'll be happy to try to discuss it with you in more detail. The rule is there, but as always in English, there are exceptions. Okay, see you.